Hi, and welcome to a discussion on Odd Taxi. During this discussion, I may bring up spoilers. There's just so much that I want to talk about that I don't think I can possibly avoid talking about them. If you haven't seen Odd Taxi already, I give it a 10 out of 10 and you should definitely go watch it. And then you should come back to watch this video and tell me what you think in the comments below. But that's enough of that, let's get straight into Odd Taxi. This anime follows Arakawa, an orphaned taxi driver living and working in Tokyo. He's quiet and keeps to himself. He has good banter with his patrons and overall he lives an incredibly simple and plain life. But he seems to have a curse of always being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Have you guys seen Beastars? Because this is nothing like that. This show tackles many emotions and themes, such as greed, financial difficulty, honour, justice, hate and love. And you may be surprised to find that each of these emotions and themes are tackled in equal footing in incredibly interesting and deep ways. I want to start by talking about the theme of friendship and to an extent honour. Arakawa has many friends who throughout the anime show that they care for him deeply. They take him out for drinks, take interest in his health, and for the most part try to keep in touch with the rather antisocial man. I imagine it must be tasking for them. I myself am not the most social person in the world, and I understand that many people have had trouble maintaining relationships with me because of this. And the struggle clearly shows, with many of his friends showing active disappointment to his constant not turning up and lack of conversational engagement, and yet they still clearly care. This is not to say that Arakawa doesn't care about his friends. He asks how people are, goes out of his comfort zone to turn up to some of these meetings, and at one point risks his life going against the Yakuza to try and save one of his oldest friends, Kakihana. Kakihana seems to me to take advantage of his caring friendship. He doesn't really put much into it. He goes to the public bathhouse with Arakawa and asks him out to drinks, but really seems more focused on finding a girlfriend. He's the sort of guy who peaked in high school, you know? Always down on himself, and though I don't hate the character, it's clear he isn't exactly the best friend anyone could ask for. Speaking of amazing friends, Goriki is Arakawa's doctor, and continuously throughout the series hints at something being wrong with Arakawa's brain. We don't get many details on this till the final episode, but Goriki as a person is very kind. He met Arakawa in his taxi, and they seem to have bonded more since. He goes out of his way to help Arakawa and actively cares for him, putting his own business and medical license at risk to save his friend. There are even themes of friendship budding perhaps where they shouldn't, and it tackles the complicated situation of befriending a dangerous person. Partway through the story, Arakawa gets dragged into Yakuza business, falsely joining forces with Dobu, a big-time criminal. Through the story you get this feeling that they are perhaps starting to become friends on a deeper level, actually starting to respect each other. Though there's the threat of suffering underlining the relationship, it's possible that friendship and relationships still blossom. I think that's something that I love about Odd Taxi. It's not scared to tackle the really complex thing that is friendship. If you spend enough time with someone, they may not seem that bad, but morality is its whole own section, so let's move on to the next. A theme I noticed, and one that felt very real to me, was money. A lot of you may not know, but I suffer with paranoia revolving around money, and so when I watch things I tend to find myself focusing on the value of what characters gain and lose. This made watching Odd Taxi interesting because everyone in the story is out to get more money. Take for example Dobu. He's a gangster and he's trying to steal a lot of money. However, it's not as simple as him wanting to make himself richer. He actually wants to get this money so that he can give it to his boss and honour himself and the gang in doing so. This is borderline the opposite of Kabasawa, who wants to gain fame on the internet and make a lot of money for himself so he can live a life of luxury. It really tackles the fact that there are many people in the world and they all want the same thing, cold hard cash. However, they want it for many different reasons. One character's value of money I find really interesting is Amai. He wins the lottery and lives a life of relative poverty. He talks about how he has a job as a waiter, and even though he seems to work hard, he still doesn't even have enough money to buy a couple of CDs of his favourite obsession, the idol band Mystery Kiss. However, as I said, he wins the lottery, but he plans to spend every penny of it on Mystery Kiss albums. He cares about having money, but only so that he can support his idols. He doesn't want a nice house, he doesn't want a new car, he simply wants to support the artist he loves. The reason I think this is interesting is that we see it all the time in real life. Whales buy everything for a game that they can get their hands on. There are people out there who send thousands of pounds every month to virtual streamers who they view as their idols, and I think these people don't really care about money. If they didn't have someone to send it to or spend it on, it would simply sit in their bank account. But they find a passion, a love worth more than words or money can describe. They simply want to see this individual or group grow and succeed. It's quite charming when you think about it. It's nice that these people have the disposable income and they choose to help someone grow or support someone, and so long as this person isn't putting themselves into financial ruin, I really don't see anything wrong with it. There's also Odokawa, who even though he has many opportunities to make money, he doesn't take them. He doesn't try to make a fortune, and the money he does make he sends back to the charity that helped him out when he was an orphaned child. This is a really wholesome reason to want to make a fortune, and it honestly warms my heart to think about. Odokawa in general has little care for himself, his own safety or well-being. He will risk his life to make a friend's a little easier. He will do all he can to pay back those that have helped him, and in general it seems that he stays alive for the betterment of others. He is the only selfless person in this story, the only person who puts others before himself in every single way. It makes his character stand out in the sea of selfish behaviour that exists in our real world and is mirrored perfectly in the story of Odd Taxi. People will kill for money. They will abuse their partners to better themselves. They will take out loans to pretend to be rich and lure people in. They will kidnap and extort, lie on the internet, and exploit their fans for every little thing they can. Everyone is selfish. The world is cruel, and there are few people who are worth your time. I think this is the most important message that Odd Taxi has to offer, and I think this message is shown well in the relationships between Odokawa and Goriki and Kanihana. I know I spoke about these relationships previously, but I just want to talk about this idea. Goriki has known Odokawa for a few years. They have a strong friendship, and it's full of give and take as any healthy relationship should be. Odokawa gets involved with the Yakuza to keep Goriki's clinic open and to ultimately keep his livelihood good and strong. And Goriki knows this, and knows it is something Odokawa would do. Goriki in turn travels around Japan and works tirelessly to find out what is wrong with Odokawa, stating to other medical professionals, "I'm not trying because I'm his doctor, I'm trying because I'm his friend." It's very lovely. It's nice to see such a strong friendship, and it shows that some people are worth trying for. And it's worth putting effort into a relationship with them, because they are well and truly good people. However, Odokawa's relationship with Kakihana is the opposite message. Kakihana doesn't do anything for Odokawa, who literally risks his life to save him from being kidnapped due to his own stupidity. I think this anime really tackles relationships that are good for you and bad, and it made me reflect on some of the less than ideal relationships that I've had in my life, and it made me appreciate the good ones. Overall, I think Odd Taxi is the most brutally realistic window into the harshness of human greed and despair. But at the end of that grim road, your destination will be warm and full of love. Every scene is a coin flip, with one side being heartbreak and pain, and the other being hope and happiness. You will not find a better anime this year. This is one of the best pieces of media I have ever seen. There are few things I think about rewatching so soon after the initial viewing, but I could watch this anime eternally. There is no number that I can give this anime for a rating. It's on a level beyond numbers, and you really owe it to yourself to watch this. Even if you don't like anime, and you somehow stumbled upon this video, please go watch this. You will not be disappointed. I really don't have much else to say, and yet I have so much left to talk about. I might rant about this anime on one of my streams if you guys ever end up there. But please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Measure Taylor signing off. You guys have a good one.